Sure, please.
Hello everyone, I'm Takeda Sora from Saitama University. This is my third year at Saitama University and I'm majoring in liberal arts. 大丈夫ですか？
ここにいる人みんなスピーカー切ってくれる。続けて。
So today I want to share my New Year's experience. In Japan, the first 3 days of New Year, known as Sanganichi, is a special time for celebration and relaxation. I spent a time with my family, and on New Year's Eve, I have a delicious meal together and watched a traditional TV called 大丈夫ですか？ called 紅白 or special TV program. And at midnight, we visited a nearby shrine for the first prayer of the year called Hatsumode. And on New Year's Day, I visited my cousin and exchanged otoshidama with his children. It was a very heartwarming and joyful way to start the year surrounded by loved ones. And I hope everyone here have a wonderful time on this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sora-san. Excuse me for our technical problems. A little bit howling, yeah, maybe, yeah. So please, some from Ukrainian students, please talk about how your New Year's Day or something else. Yeah, please, Yulia.
Hello, thank you. And first of all, happy New Year and Merry Christmas to all the students from Japan and from Ukraine. It's really nice to meet you again and to be with you. And I want to share, some ideas about my celebration. So first of all, it was Christmas. And Christmas for us, first of all, that's about family gathering. So that's about 12 dishes, about diduch. It's kind of also with the wits construction. And the first thing that's for us is kind of to feel this Holy Spirit, to feel this peaceful feeling inside of us, despite the war. Yes, we want to feel like gathered. We want to feel shared together. And as for New Year, it's also just to celebrate a bit, to meet friends, or just to sing some songs, and just to have a really good time. Yes, after exams, yes, just to have fun and to have chill. And that's why, yes, that was really good times. And now we're full of energy, yes, to continue working, studying, and to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yulia. So, someone else wants to talk? Renata, please.
Okay, hello everyone. Happy New Year for everyone too. So Christmas, I spent Christmas with my family, of course, but it was the first time when I celebrated New Year without my family. I had a travel. I celebrated New Year in Italy. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. You said you went to Italy?
Yep. Yeah.
Great. That's great. Okay. Yeah, you had a good vacation. Yeah. So, Vika, please.
Good afternoon, dear professors and dear students. Happy New Year, everyone. In Ukraine, we usually celebrate the New Year in family, as usual, together. We prepare salads, variety of food together, but in Ukraine it depends on the family, because our younger generation can celebrate the New Year with friends or with boyfriend or travel, as Renata said. Yeah. So, and I wanted to say Happy New Year.
Thank you, Vika. Okay, thank you for interesting speeches. So now let me ask the professors give a New Year speech. Olga Nikolaevna.
Thank you, dear professors, dear participants. Thank you for coming together again for our scientific seminar. We appreciate your efforts very much and wish that youth science develops, that students from different countries get to know each other more, and that more books are read and discussed. This is very important in such a difficult time when the world space is changing. Sometimes it even seems that the world is losing its meaning, but there is always meaning, and that is what literature and art remind us of. Today we will talk about classic works of Ukrainian and world literature. I would like us all to feel that classics are an eternal value. I wish you successful presentations, and I would like to ask all students and professors to write their reports in the form of papers. At the end of our seminars, we will collect them in a collection of scientific papers. This is our annual tradition. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Olga Nikolaevna. Yeah. Lydia Sensei, are you there?
Добрий день, дорогі друзі. Вітаю вас всіх вже в новому 2025 році. Бажаю нам всім успіху, гарної роботи, плідної і гарних цікавих дискусій.
Yes, good afternoon, dear colleagues and dear students, in new year, new 25th year, and I wish you all the best and success and really interesting discussion and productive and plentiful seminars. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so let's start today's presentations. Yeah, so let me repeat that each presenter has 15 minutes. Yeah, okay. So Lydia-san, could you please introduce your students?
Так, ми розпочинаємо наші доповіді, і першими ми представимо наші студенти, розкажуть про творчість Сігела і вивчення творчості у школах України.
Yes, we start with our students who will talk about our art and about the author Segal and his studying at school, his works.
I hope you can see it.
Wait a minute. Yeah, we can.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure to present. So, Erich Wolf Segal. He was born on June 16 in 1937 in Brooklyn, New York. He grew up in a Jewish household as the eldest of three brothers. His father, Samuel Segal, was a rabbi, and his mother, Cynthia, a homemaker. His family heritage traced back to Volynets, Lutsiv. From a young age, Segal showed a passion for storytelling and literature. Also, he attended Midwood High School, where he experienced a significant accident while canoeing. During his recovery, his coach suggested jogging as a part of rehabilitation. This sparked a lifelong passion of running, leading Segal to participate in the Boston Marathon over a dozen times. Segal pursued higher education at Harvard College, graduating in 1958 with distinguished titles of class poet and Latin salutatorian. He continued at Harvard to earn a master's degree in 1959 and later a doctorate in comparative literature in 1965. After completing his academic training, Segal began his career as a professor of classics, primary teaching at Yale's University during his 1960s and to 1918. He experienced and his enthusiasm for classical literature earned his visiting professorships and institutions such as Princeton, Oxford, and the University of London. In 1975, Segal married Karen James, and the couple settles in northwest London. They had two daughters, Miranda and Francesca. Francesca later pursued a career as a journalist, literary critic, and columnist. Through his life, Segal demonstrated remarkable resilience. But later he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in his 40s. He continued to write, teach, and run despite his illness. Segal passed away on January 17 in 2010 at the age of 72 following a heart attack. In a eulogy delivered at his funeral, his daughter Francesca said that he fought to breathe, fought to live every second of the last 30 years of illness with such mind-blowing obduracy is a testament to the core of who he was, a blind obsessionally that saw him pursue his teaching, his writing, his running, and my mother was just the same tenacity. He was the most dogged man any of us will even know.
Love Story is Erich Segal's novel which brought him worldwide fame. Firstly, it was written as a screenplay which was subsequently approved by Paramount Pictures. Paramount requested Segal to adapt the story into a novel as part of the film's marketing campaign. The book was released on February 14, 1970, on St. Valentine's Day. Love Story was an instant commercial success, selling 21 million copies. It became a New York Times bestseller and was translated into 33 languages. The film was released on December 16, 1970. Erich Segal's screenplay brought him a Golden Globe Award and one of the film's 7 Oscar nominations. The book tells the story of Harvard student Oliver Barrett Worth and Radcliffe student Jennifer Cavallari, who fall in love with each other despite all their differences. He comes from a wealthy and prominent family, and she is the daughter of middle-class Italian immigrant. Oliver's dad stands against his marriage with Jenny. And nevertheless, the couple gets married. Oliver is left with no money. Newlyweds live in poverty. In spite of all difficulties, the only force that can pull Oliver and Jenny apart is death. Jenny finds out that she has leukemia and has little time left. Oliver spends all his time with Jenny, and she eventually dies in his hands. In Love Story, Erich Segal brings up a question of hardships in parent-children relationships. In his own words, the book is about a young couple, but even more about a father and a son. The coldness and straightness between Oliver and his father is sharply opposite to the warm and loving relationships of Jenny and her dad. In his book, Erich Segal shows that if people truly love each other, nothing can come between them, neither different social backgrounds nor financial difficulties. Oliver sacrifices everything he has to be with Jenny, riches, social status, privileges. However, Oliver and Jenny were happy even in poverty. They were finding joy even in small things, like a boat trip or just in time spent together. The loss of a loved person is another important issue raised in the book. Unfortunately, this theme is urgent and timely for Ukrainians now. Every day, people of Ukraine face the loss of loved ones who died on the front line or due to air strikes. Following the global success of love story, Erich Segal wrote 7 romantic books and a children's book. Fairy Tale is the only children's book written by Erich Segal. In the story, justice always triumphs, money doesn't plenty for people, and the hero lives happily ever after. As for the author, it can be possible only in fairy tales. Oliver's story is a sequel to Love Story. In this book, Oliver tries to recover from Jenny's death. He makes an attempt to build new relationships and reconnect with his father. Man, Woman, and a Child is a novel about a couple whose perfect marriage is challenged when the husband finds out he has an illegitimate son. The class tells the story of 5 classmates from the time they were admitted to Harvard till their 25th reunion. The book is based on Erich Segal's own experiences and concerns the whole generation of students who entered college in 1954. Doctors. In this novel, Erich Segal raises some important issues, such as medical and research ethics and euthanasia. Acts of faith. As well as the class, this book is also linked to Erich Segal's biography. As one of the churches, the author also comes from a Jewish family. Prizes is a novel about 3 successful scientists who strive to win the Nobel Prize. Only Love. This story is about a world-class neurosurgeon who wants to save his loved woman's life, even though she is declared inoperable by every other surgeon.
It's important to mention also that Erich Segal was a master of blending literature and cinematic storytelling. He easily moved between writing novels and screenplays, showing a great talent for creating stories that captured the audience in different formats. His works were defined by their emotional depth and engaging storytelling, drawing readers and viewers into the lives of his characters and the universal themes they explored. Notably, Segal contributed to cinema as a screenwriter for Yellow Submarine, the iconic animated film inspired by the Beatles, which became a landmark in pop culture. He also wrote the script for RPM, a drama addressing for cultural and political upheavals of the 1960s. Showing his ability to tackle contemporary issues through compelling storytelling. In general, we can say that the Segal impact is still felt deeply. Many modern writers of novels and screenplays say that he inspired their way of storytelling, especially in creating emotional, character-focused stories. Let's say he remained as a standard for those aiming to deeply connect with the audience. Here is a small fragment of.
Erich Segal brought a significant shift to the romantic drama genre. His novel and screenplay Love Story revolutionized how love and loss were portrayed, with a raw emotional intensity that resonated deeply across generations. The iconic line, "Love means never having to say you're sorry," became a cultural mantra symbolizing the depth of unconditional love and forgiveness. Segal's impact extended beyond fiction into academia. As a respected scholar of Greek and Latin literature, he brought classical storytelling techniques to modern narratives, seamlessly merging intellectual rigor with popular appeal. His ability to breathe these words left a lasting mark on students, writers, and scholars alike. In modern storytelling, Segal remains a powerful influence. His character-driven narratives and emotionally resonant themes inspired countless authors and filmmakers to focus on universal human experiences. Segal himself once admitted, "I was afraid of being rejected, yes. I was also afraid of being accepted for the wrong reasons." This vulnerability and honesty mirrored the heart of his storytelling, making his works timeless. At the end of 2024, the regional stage of the All-Ukrainian Teacher of the Year competition in the World Literature category took place. The jury in the Lviv region was headed by Professor Yelyzaveta. One of the works chosen for lessons by the region's best teachers was a novel written by Erich Segal. This work is a part of the 8th grade curriculum developed by a team of authors led by Professor Olga Nikolenko, with input from Professor Lydia Matsevko-Bekerska. During the lessons, pupils eagerly discussed the text, explored its main themes, talked about important issues, and shared their thoughts on the values of human life. The stage of the competition was held at the Lviv Law Gymnasium.
Тобто це впевнений такий собі чоловік. Добре, молодець. Хто ще? Прошу. Дівчата, ви обрали? Дженні.
Сильна характером. Начитана, допитлива, сильна духом, може постояти.
Добре, може постоїти, прошу.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Christina and Yelyzaveta. Yeah, it was very interesting. It is very interesting presentation. I didn't know Erich Segal's novel is so popular in Ukraine. Yeah. So please give them questions or comments, please. Yeah, Anna, please.
So first of all, thank you so much for such an informative and great presentation. And in my opinion, the book Love Story shows a pure and wonderful love. And I really like to read such books because they help me to relax and spend some times in peace and like in another universe. So thank you so much for such presentation.
Thank you. So, Darina?
Yes,
Please.
hello everyone. And I want to thank the presenters about such an informative and great presentation and report about such an amazing person and author particularly. I was really surprised to hear that he wrote a script for the Beatles because this is one of my favorite childhood music videos and cartoons. And I have one question about the Oscar-winning book you mentioned, The Love Story. I'm sorry. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that this is a really powerful love story that explores the question of true love, of unconditional love. So I want to ask which moment in book or movie was the most prominent sign of true love for you especially?
Thank you for your question. As for me, the most the greatest moment in the book was when after Jenny's death, Oliver makes up with his father because maybe that was like Jenny's wish to that Oliver reconnect with his father because she had such loving relationships with her father, and he always wanted to she always wanted such thing for Oliver. And that's it.
Yeah, thank you for your answer.
Thank you. So Christina, please.
Yes, I want to start by saying thank you for such an interesting presentation. Until the day, I didn't know much about Erich Segal, but today I saw how interesting his work is, and I have a question. Does the story of Oliver really violate the necessary topics for coverage, or is the appearance of this work caused only by the success of the first part?
As far as thank you for your question. As far as I know, the Oliver story was also very popular, as well as love story, and the film was very popular either. However, it didn't it wasn't nominated for great awards like Oscars or Golden Globe Award, but I think it isn't worse than the first part.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So Alexei, please. Alexei.
Alexei.
Yes, hello, can you hear me? So what I wanted to ask was, I also thank you for the great presentation. My question is, what recurring themes can be found within his novels, and how do you really connect with them, with his personal beliefs or the experiences within them?
Thank you for your question. Let me answer this question. I think it's the way how Segal portrayed the feeling and the emotion of his characters. For me, it was very moving. You can see such soft feeling when he writes his dialogues and so on. It says for me.
Okay, yeah. So
Thank you.
Anastasia, please. Anastasia.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
So I would like to say thank you for your presentation. It was very interesting. And I have a question. Did Erich Segal face any challenges or problems during his career as a writer? And how was Erich Segal work received by critics compared to the general public? So I have two questions. Thank you.
Can you repeat, please, the first question?
Yeah, so did Erich Segal face any challenges or maybe problems during his career as a writer?
Okay, thank you for your question. One of his challenge was not in a writing career directly, but with his health. Imagine his last year was so hard. He started to fight for his life, but he still not stopped to write his novels. About about critics, I would say that it was pretty easy moment that not everyone critics was satisfied, but it wasn't such a big discussion. So, for example, that his books and both books and film became bestseller and was translated about novel was translated in 33 languages, Ukrainian also. I think it's a crazy success in some way.
Okay, Thank you for your answer.
Thank you very much, Christina and Yelyzaveta. Can I ask a simple question? The novel, love story, unfortunately in Japan was forgotten. They don't read it anymore. But it is a revival hit in Ukraine, or it has been always famous in Ukraine, popular. How about that? So it is a revival hit in these years recently, or are they popular all the time in Ukraine?
Thank you for your question. It's hard to trace such a moment. For example, me, I know him by his love story. So for me, it was a notable book, and also this book was translated in Ukrainian 2 times. So I think we can say that Ukrainian read his books, especially this one.
Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. So please, maybe the second group, second presenter from review. Please, could you start?
Yes, good morning and good afternoon to everybody. Our presentation is about Lesia Ukrainka. We will embark on a journey into the extraordinary life and works of Lesia Ukrainka, who is one of the Ukraine's most celebrated writers. Her writings, imbued with deep patriotism, love for her homeland, and indomitable spirit, continue to inspire millions of readers today. Please, next slide. Lesia Ukrainka, whose real name was Larisa Petrivna Kosich, was born into a family of talented Ukrainian intellectuals. Despite battling a lifelong illness, she left behind a rich literary legacy. She was a writer, translator, folklorist, public and cultural activist, and she was a trailblazer of the Ukrainian feminist movement. As a co-founder of renowned literary society Pleiada, she also made significant contributions to national literature through her poetry, epics, novels, essay, and the development of poetic drama. She remains among the most iconic women of Ukrainian history in general. Beyond her literary accomplishments, she was also deeply involved in ethnography. She documented Ukrainian folk traditions, including recording of 220 folk melodies, and later she published them. Also, she published works on children's games, songs, and fairy tales, conducting studies such as Kupala in Volyn in her home region. Despite her illness and demanding treatments, she led a vibrant cultural and social life. She was fluent in 9 languages, and she engaged deeply with world literature, exploring universal themes such as human loneliness, gender equality, cultural isolation, and complexities of love and death. And her insights into these enduring issues continue to resonate today. Lesia Ukrainka was born in 1871 in Novgorod-Volynsk into a close-knit family into close-knit Kosich family, as her mother, Olga Drahomanova Kosich, was also a distinguished literary figure, and she was known for her refined poetry and children's stories. Thus, the education that Lesia received by her mother, the political extent, exposure to local culture and history, and the beauty of rural landscapes form the essential elements of Ukrainka adult writing style and favorite themes. Although, due to her tuberculosis of the bone, a condition she later referred as her 30 years war, she was homeschooled, but it didn't stop her from receiving an exceptional education. By the time she was 8, she wrote her first poem, which was named Hope, when she was already sick. And she also had the contact with Ukrainian aristocrats and intellectuals like Mikhailo Dragomanov, who was her uncle, Mykola Lysenko, Volodymyr Antonovich, and Mikhailo Staritsky, who were prominent figures in literature, in literary and social life at the time. She demonstrated her abilities early by writing a 250-page textbook for her siblings named The Ancient History of the Eastern Peoples. She was still a teenager when she did it. Larissa Kosich began writing poetry at the age of 8 or 9, yes, with her poem Hope. She was inspired by news that her aunt, Alona Kosich, was exiled for her involvement in the revolutionary or political movement. In 1884, her poems, Lily of the Valley and Sappho, were first published in the Lviv magazine Zorya, marking the debut of her pen name, Lesia Ukrainka, suggested by her mother. In 1885, she and her brother, Mikhailo, collaborated on translations of work of Gogol and also published them in Lviv. Her first collection also had to be secretly published. Yes. Thanks to her bringing, namely her parents, she would learn that literature and politics were tightly intertwined and impossible to unravel. Her household was deeply committed to Ukrainian nationalism and opposition to Russian Tsarist autocracy that dominated the region. Ukrainka and her siblings received a home-based education, and thus parents were able to give them in their education a strong emphasis on reading and writing in Ukrainian. It was from her parents that she learned that yes, you cannot be a poet and politically disengaged. She was an active member of the politically engaged Literary and Artistic Society of Kyiv, but later, among her brothers, she co-founded a literary circle called Pléiada, inspired by the French poetry school La Pléiade, named after the constellation The Seven Sisters. The group brought together a cohort of writers and even can be doubted, but we can argue that it preceded the more famous Bloomsbury group in London. So Pléiada was arguably more productive within its brief existence. And the group existed with an urgent goal. The group was united and it persisted with their urgent goal of preserving the Ukrainian language in the face of Russian imperialist threats. We may say that Lesia was also arrested in 1907, though briefly she was released, but nonetheless, yes, Russian spies or whatever, or yes, in general, imperialist, yes, they tried to keep an eye on her till the end of her life. Despite that, her final years were enough for her to leave a lasting impact and earn deep admiration for her efforts in preserving and advancing Ukrainian culture.
Lesia Ukrainka's early lyrical poems show themes of nature's beauty, love for her homeland, personal emotions, and the role of the poet. Her poetry is marked by patriotic and civic motifs, reflecting a deep connection with the Ukrainian people and a protest against social oppression. She explored the purpose of poetry, existential questions, and her love for Ukraine through landscape and intimate lyrics that remain timelessly moving. Her works defended inner freedom and the spiritual liberation of individuals. Lesia Ukrainka's poetry promoted ideas of justice, freedom, and humanism, emphasizing the individuality and spirituality that forms the humanistic ideal. Lesia Ukrainka's philosophical poetry addresses life, death, and human existence, connecting personal struggles with universal themes. In Contra spem spero, that means without hope I still hope, written during her battle with tuberculosis, she finds hope amidst despair. In the cycle of poems called The Journey to the Sea, she contemplates nature and the passage of time, using the sea as a metaphor for life's vastness. Drawing from classical philosophy, religious teachings, and Ukrainian folklore, she combines analytical insight with emotional intensity, balancing idealism with realism. This duality makes her work resonate deeply, as it reflects both her inner world and universal human struggles. Dramatic works. Lesia Ukrainka started Ukrainian drama with her neo-romantic and symbolist style, introducing the dramatic poem genre. Her plays often combined world literature and Ukrainian themes, focusing on human psychology and philosophical questions. Her most famous play, Forest Song, describes some mythology and offers rich opportunities for stage interpretations. There is a worldwide screen adaptation of this legendary play, and the film is based on the Forest Song, and it's named Mavka. In this song, she introduced a strong foundation of this Slavic mythology. Also, she wrote Boyarinya. So this play was written in exile, uniquely examined by her, and she wrote about Ukrainian history through a feminist patriotic lens, while another work, Cassandra, is about Greek mythology, and it's about the tragedy of unhidden truth. Lesia Ukrainka's dramatic works remain foundational in both Ukrainian and global theater. Translations. Lesia Ukrainka was fluent in 7 languages, and she brought global masterpieces to Ukrainian audiences, translating works by Homer, Dante, Shakespeare, and more. Her translations bridged cultures, introducing Ukrainian readers to diverse literary traditions, with showcasing the richness of Ukrainian language and thought. She also translated sacred texts like hymns from the Rigveda and Egyptian folk songs, reflecting her intellectual curiosity. These translations not only enriched Ukrainian literature, but also influenced her original works, connecting global ideas with some local creativity. Lesia Ukrainka remains a cornerstone of Ukrainian literature and national identity. Her works, filled with themes of freedom, justice, and self-determination, inspired resilience during times of oppression. Today, her legacy continues to shape Ukrainian culture, untying people through her timeless message of hope and renewal. Her influence is celebrated through monuments, cultural events, and her inclusion in national literary canon. And also she is depicted on the 200 hryvnia banknote that you can see at the picture. Lesia Ukrainka's ideals of equality and intellectual freedom resonate strongly in modern Ukraine, making her a reason for inspiration for future generations.
Yeah, and also I would like to proceed with the today's perception of the Lesia Ukrainka creativity. And for instance, on the February 25 in 2021, there was a celebration of the 150th anniversary of birth of Lesia Ukrainka, and for more than a century, Lesia Ukrainka has remained a powerful ambassador of Ukrainian culture internationally, and generations of Ukrainians unite around her memorable works. For instance, the Ukrainian community in Japan, Koreani, created a series of video stories about Lesia Ukrainka in Japanese. Also, Ukrainians in India filmed the play Forest song in Hindi. Young Ukrainians from Denmark have prepared interesting facts from the life of the famous writer. Also, in a number of countries around the world, there are a lot of monuments, museums, and memorial places which have been created for the glorious daughter of the Ukrainian people. This is evidenced by a significant source base, both on paper and electronic media. Monuments and museums dedicated to Lesia Ukrainka are located in different parts of the world, in Canada, Italy, Austria, Georgia, Egypt, Germany, and many others. And also her activities, in addition to Ukraine, cover 16 other countries in Europe, Asia, Africa, and North America, including not only the physical presence of the poetess, but also her presence of signs of respect for this great person. By the way, Lesia Ukrainka is a role model for young people today, as she was decades ago. In her works, one can find ideas that are close to the modern person. Lesia Ukrainka wrote about patriotism, about love for the motherland, also the fact that one should go to their destination no matter what. And Lesia was a woman with views that are worth studying and comparing with modern realities in the context of feminism and willpower. And also, despite the pervasive presence of Lesia Ukrainka in our culture space, she has never become a petrified, sacrificed figure. Her life, illness, love affairs, and of course texts researched and studies were read and interpreted most often through the prism of gender, of post-colonialism studies. Lesia's life speaks of her noble lineage, her mastery in writing, and even in her everyday life, her sophisticated wardrobe and modern lifestyle. Her persona appears in modern glosses, public discussions, and fashion brands. Even desserts in coffee shops named after her, and she is not just the muse for a powerful writer. She is rather the creator, not a frail, ill woman, but arguably the strongest playwright of the modernist era, not only in Ukraine, but across Europe. And at the every list, yes. And Lesia Ukrainka is more than just a writer. She is the symbol of struggle, unbreakable spirit, and love for Ukraine. Her works will live on forever, inspiring new generations. And that's it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Vlad and Maria, two Marias. Yeah. So, although we don't have many times for discussion, so please speak your comments or questions. Okay, so Vika, please.
All I want to say, thank you so much, girls, for interesting information about Lesia Ukrainka. A very meaningful and impressive presentation about our Ukrainian writer, her life path, spiritual strengths and thoughts. Every Ukrainian reads the works of Lesia Ukrainka and appreciates our wonderful writer who wrote wonderful poems and works. So thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vika. Okay, so please, Ryohei.
Okay. Thank you for your presentation about Lesia, Ukrainka. Some comment. Ukrainka is a writer and a political activist as a feminist. But in Japan, writers are reluctant to make political statements, and I think they do not like politics. But taking a active part in politics as a writer is important thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryohei. Okay, so Alexei, please.
Thank you for the great presentation that we were able to see. My question is, in your opinion, what lesson or what lessons can modern readers and writers learn from the author's literary contributions?
I would start if I may. Okay.
Go on.
Okay.
You go on.
Well, I will start. Yeah. Probably I think that Lesia Ukrainka's works are so powerful and so accurate to the problematics of society today as well. So I would say that one of the most prominent are to believe in yourself and don't give up in different cases, even if you know that as that was in the case of Lesia Ukrainka, that she was seriously ill and she didn't give up. She went on with her destination, and that is very powerful. Also, the topic of feminist ideas, so that women can struggle and can fight for their rights and for their place in society, and I think it's also really beautiful. And also the idea that we have something stronger in ourselves. We have our willpower, and this willpower, this flame, can lead us towards our dreams, towards our destination in life, and that we can be really the powerful figures and the powerful generations in our society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alexei. Anastasia, you have one?
Yes, so I have one more question about Lesia, about how did her health struggles, particularly her battle with tuberculosis, shape her perspectives and literature terms?
Thank you so much. I believe that she was such a strong individual that she did not let it destroy her. Yes, we see that she wrote her first poem, Hope, well after the incident, yes, that happened that led to her tuberculosis. And I believe that she dealt with pain very well. However, she tended to find the community, yes, of those who were ill in order to mentally support herself. It didn't stop her physically. You couldn't see much of the disease in the works, but you could see the power that she gained from dealing with that. You could see that in every character that she wrote. My favorite, for example, my favorite work of her is Possessed, Одержима in Ukrainian, where she takes the biblical figures and she writes her name. Yes, that's where we can see her feminist vision, view, yes, on life. She wrote it near deathbed of her beloved one, yes, when he was dying also from tuberculosis. And you can see that she dealt with it with the literature. She didn't let the disease possess her works. Rather, she let the power, yes, to be shown in her works. Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for your answer. Thank you.
Let me also ask a simple question. You said Ukrainka knew various languages. In your opinion, which literature was close influenced her most? Which foreign literature, for example, French or Russian or German, or in your opinion, which literature influenced her most?
Oh, to me personally, I think the German, was a closer one. I know the Germans, like majority of her siblings and family spoke German. So to me, I believe that, but I may be biased because I also am learning German. So yes, maybe French as well. So European languages, although she knew, yes, also Kazakh language, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and she never bragged about knowing Russian language. She tried to keep it kind of to the side. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now let me introduce University of from Saitama University. So Haya and Aoi, please start.
Hello everyone, can you hear me? Hello everyone, we are Aoi Shimizu and Haya Tawara, first year students studying in the College of Liberal Arts at Saitama University. Saitama University. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to make a presentation. The topic of our presentation is about the translation of Hamlet. As you probably know, Hamlet is a play by English playwright William Shakespeare, completed around 1601, and is famous for being one of Shakespeare's four tragedies. The general outline of the play is the story of the protagonist Hamlet's revenge against his own uncle, who poisoned his father, the King of Denmark, and took his mother as his second wife. Through the famous lines of the play and the conflicts and feelings of the characters, it can be said that the play teaches readers the importance of re-examining their own lives and this. From its completion to the present day, Hamlet has been translated in many countries around the world. This is, of course, also true in Japan, where many Japanese translations of Hamlet exist. The oldest Japanese translation is Charles Bergman's 1874 translation, and the most recent is the 2003 translation by Shoichiro Kawai. The two translations we will use in our presentation are the 1949 translation of Hamlet by Sanki Ichikawa and Kaiichi Matsuura, and the 2003 translation by Shoichiro Kawai, and we will compare the differences between these Japanese translations. Briefly, let me describe the translator. First of all, Sanki Ichikawa, born in 1886 and died in 1970, was an English scholar and essayist. He was the first president of the Shakespeare Society of Japan in 1930. Matsuura Kaiichi, an English literature scholar born in 1891 and died in 1967, worked with Ichikawa on the translation of Hamlet during his career as a university professor and translator of other literature. Shoichiro Kawai, born in 1960, is an English literature scholar and translator. He specializes in Shakespeare, and his grandmother's great uncle, Shoyo Tsubouchi, was the first person to translate all of Shakespeare's plays. So now we will be comparing the translations. This is one of Hamlet's most famous lines, so well known that even people who have never read Hamlet know it. It is as if Hamlet had seen through everything his uncle and Polonius were thinking and was playing the role of a character in the play, which implies to the reader that Hamlet's suspicion and even greater than those of his uncle and Polonius. The major difference between Ichikawa's and Kawai's translation here is precisely brevity. Ichikawa's translation uses Japanese from about 80 years ago, so there are particles and auxiliary verbs scattered throughout the translation that are not used in modern written and spoken Japanese to some extent, as a matter of course. Therefore, in this line, which the reader knows from the beginning, and in Hamlet's words that follow, the impression is quite strong that it is a line from the stage. Therefore, the lines give the impression that Hamlet is deliberately acting this way in order to show off to his uncle and Polonius. Conversely, in Kawai's case, the translation is the one most familiar to modern Japanese, so the reader is first given the impression that this is Hamlet. Furthermore, compared to Ichikawa's translation, the position of the translation of further this nobler in the mind is different. Ichikawa places this translation at the end of the sentence following to be or not to be, that is a question, whereas Kawai places it immediately after to be or not to be, that is a question. This adds more tempo and speed to dialogue than Ichikawa's translation, making this famous passage stand out even more.
This directed from Hamlet to the vizier's daughter Ophelia. It's probably the most famous line in Hamlet, along with to be or not to be, that is the question. This line can be interpreted as the words of Hamlet, who, sensing Ophelia's treachery, cruelly hurts and hated Ophelia, who is in his favor, or as the words of Ophelia, who is about to take her revenge and wants to sever her ugly relationship with herself and the world and let her remain beautiful. The other interpretation is that they are words of hatred directed at Ophelia, who is about to take her revenge on the world and wants Ophelia to break off her ugly relationship with the world and remain beautiful. In Ichikawa's translation, the use of honorific language gives the reader the impression that he is only showing his dignity as the Prince of Denmark and his courtesy to women. But at the same time, he is calmly pushing Ophelia away. On the other hand, in Kawai's translation, the lines are in full imperative form, and the text that follows in full of half, which is used in Japanese to urge the other person to go to the nunnery. In addition, Hamlet's first person is boku in Ichikawa's translation and ore. In Kawai's translation, in Ophelia's father is called Otosan. In Ichikawa's translation, and oyaji in Kawai's translation. This is a very Japanese difference in expression, and it is difficult to explain this difference in impression. Since in English-speaking countries, these are translated simply as I and father. Simply put, bok in Japanese gives the other person the impression of being a little more serious, calm, and a little younger than ore. On the contrary, ore is more masculine than boku, but at the same time more effective in giving the impression of being a bit rough around the edges. Otosan and oyaji are both Japanese words that refer to fathers, but they give a similar impression to boku and ore, with otosan being normal and polite and oyaji being rough and manly. Please look at this screen. These are the words that Hamlet uttered to the queen in Act 3, Scene 4, after stabbing Polonius to death in the queen's chamber and conversing with the ghost of his father. Hamlet accuses Queen Gertrude of being crazy about her son, but she does not care about it, even right after he stabbed Polonius to death, and accuses him of being a madman. Ichikawa's translation is fairly faithful to the original English text. Here, two contrasting motifs, the devil and the angel, are used as metaphors. Hamlet's admonition that habits, which form the basis of a person's life and control his or her thoughts and actions, can have both positive and negative effects on some people, is a little different from his harsh words to the queen immediately before. In addition, the motif of angels and demons is often used in Japanese manga, anime, novels, etc. to express conflict easily. For example, when the protagonist picks up someone's wallet on the street and wonders whether he should deliver it to the police station or keep it for himself. Therefore, even though the story was translated about 80 years ago, it is still easily understood by us today. In contrast, Kawai's translation is very concise and does not use the contrast between demons and angels as in original text and Ichikawa's book translation. Also, Hamlet's admonition to look back on your habits is not mentioned in an easy to understand manner. Therefore, to the reader's eye, Hamlet seems calm and distant in his admonition to his mother. Also, the fact that she remarried her uncle, who killed her father, shows that she despises even her own mother. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Aoi and Haya. Maybe it is a little bit difficult for Ukrainian students to understand nuances of Japanese translation. But still, if you have any questions, please give them one. Yulia, please.
Yes, first of all, arigato gozaimasu, girls, for such a fascinating analysis of translation and comparison of like older translation into much modern translation. As for us, you're really interesting, yes, to find out like some specificities of translation of Japanese language. And I just want to ask you your personal opinion, like between this Ichikawa's and Kawai's translation, which is for you like more artistic, more closer to Shakespeare, kind of a feeling of his works, kind of more artistic translation. Could you please tell me?
どっちの方がもうもうアーティスティックだったかとか、どっちの方があなたたちが好きだったかとか。
Kawaii's translation is new and cross our feelings.
Okay, so Darina, please.
Yes, first of all, I really want to express my sincere gratitude to the girls for choosing this specific topic, because I'm really curious about the comparison studies, especially the translation comparison in the language I am trying to learn now. And one of the greatest moments, one of the greatest points you made as the small introduction to the personalities of the translators, sorry. So I really want to say thank you for such great report. Thank you for choosing this specific topic. And I hope you will study more about the Hamlet, and maybe to the next year we will hear more about this from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Darina. The comparison of translation, Shakespeare's translation is always very interesting. Yeah, thank you. So good topic. Okay, so let me ask Olga Nikolaevna to introduce Poltava students.
Thank you. Let me introduce a group of undergraduate students from Poltava National Pedagogical University who prepared a presentation about Gogol and his story The Night Before Christmas. They are Yelyzaveta, Lykhodii, Anna Khoroshko, Alona, Skrypal, and Renata, Fedoriaka. You may begin your presentation.
Can you see my screen now?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello.
You may
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yelyzaveta, and I'm excited to represent our team as we explore the work of one of the most renowned Ukrainian writers, Gogol. Today we will discuss his collection, Evening on the Farm near Dikanka, focusing on one of its most captivating stories, The Night Before Christmas. This novel masterfully combines the enchanting atmosphere of Ukrainian folklore, subtle humor, and Gogol's unique style, captivating readers worldwide. And during our presentation, I would like to draw your attention to the tradition of celebrating Christmas, and it would be fascinating to hear your stories. How do you celebrate New Year and Christmas, and what unique customs exist in your family and maybe in your region? Please share your experience in the chat or after our presentation. I think it will help us better understand the diversity of our cultures. So let's dive into this fascinating Christmas story together.
Hello everyone, my name is Anna and I will begin our presentation. So Gogol was born on April 1 in 1809 in the village of Veliki Sorochinci in Poltava region to a family of poor nobles. His father, Vasil Gogol-Yanovsky, was an educated man who wrote comedies for the home theater and had a great influence on the formation of his son's talent. Mykola Gogol's mother Maria passed on to her son a love of folk tales, legends, and Ukrainian folklore, which was later reflected in his work. Mykola was educated at the Nizhyn High School of Higher Sciences, where he wrote poetry, staged theater performances, and even created his own theater group. After graduating from the gymnasium in 1828, Gogol moved to St. Petersburg with the hope of success in literature and theater, but he encountered difficulties. His early works were not recognized, and after criticism of his first poem Ganz Küchergarten, Gogol bought and burned the entire print of the book. Later, however, Gogol became very famous for his collection Evenings on a Farm near Dikanka. On this slide, you can see photos of National Museum Reserve of Mykola Gogol in Poltava region. Gogol's works contain a lot of humor and vivid Ukrainian characters, but at the same time he was not satisfied with his life in the Russian Empire. In his works he criticized officials, corruption, violence, and disregard for ordinary people. But Gogol was not understood by his contemporaries. Therefore, from 1836, Gogol traveled extensively in Europe, living in Rome, Paris, and other cities. There he worked on the second volume of Dead Souls and plunged into religious search. These experiences influenced his work and psychological state. In 1845, he burned the manuscripts of the second volume of Dead Souls, which was a reflection of his inner struggle. In the last years of his life, his health deteriorated significantly. On the eve of his death, he burned some more of his manuscripts, including the second version of Dead Souls. The writer died on March 4 in 1852 in Moscow. On this slide, you can see more photos of the museum, of the place where Gogol worked on his stories, as well as other parts of the house.
Okay. Hello, my name is Renata, and I'm gonna continue our presentation. So, Evenings on a Farm near Dikanka consists of two books. The first was published in 1831 and the second in 1832. Gogol wrote the stories for evenings between 1829 and 1832. These works immerse readers in the enchanting world of a Ukrainian village where reality intervenes with folklore and mysticism. The book contains 8 tales filled with folk traditions, humor, and vibrant characters. The most famous among them are The Night Before Christmas and The Fair at Sorochintsy. This collection brought Gogol widespread popularity and laid the foundation for his future literary success, becoming a vivid example of blending the real with the fantastic. Okay. A film adaptation, Evenings on a Farm near Dikanka, is a Soviet comedy from 1961 based on Gogol's work of the same name. Directed by Alexander Ru, the film is a lively adaptation rich with Ukrainian spirit, folk humor, and fantastical elements. On this slide, we can see Holy Trinity Church, locally known as the Trinity Church, is an active stone church in Dikanka, Ukraine. It was built in 1780 by Pavlo Vasilyevich Kochubey on the site of an old wooden exhalation of the Cross Church. The Trinity Church is one of Ukraine's architectural landmarks. Mykola Gogol frequently visited these places and depicted them in his famous Evenings on a Farm near Dikanka.
Hello everyone, my name is Alona and I will continue our presentation. So, The Night Before Christmas, part of the collection Evenings on the Farm near Dikanka, was published in 1831 and stands as one of Mykola Gogol's most brilliant works, vividly showcasing Ukrainian culture and folklore. Fascinated by the romantic literary trend, Gogol sought to capture the enchantment of Ukrainian traditions, utilizing a rich array of myths, riddles, and customs that he he had known since childhood. He didn't merely study folklore, but lived in within this world of imagery, which later came to life in his literary creations. The story opened the second part of the collection, immersing readers in the world where pagan and Christian perceptions of the universe intertwine. Gogol's goal was not only to entertain but to lead the reader into the mysterious and depths of national traditions. Folktale blends with comedic, romantic, and fantastical elements.
The events of the night before Christmas unfold on Christmas Eve, and time when family gather for a sacred holy night, honoring their ancestors, watching for the first star, and beginning the festive supper. The main character, a humble yet brave and hardworking blacksmith named Vakula, is in love with a beautiful but capricious Oksana, who declares she will only marry him if he brings her slippers like the one worn by Tsaritsa herself. To accomplish this daunting task, Vakula enlists supernatural help, striking a deal with the devil, who takes him to St. Petersburg. Returning triumphant with the slippers, Vakula wins Oksana's admiration, and she agrees to become his wife. Fantasy characters coexist with ordinary people in the story, seamlessly intervening with human fates, yet ultimately coming to the power of love and wholesome Christian rituals surrounding the celebration of Christmas.
Their symbolism within the story is rooted in folk culture and Christian traditions. The night itself a key symbol, imbued with magical significance as a time for mystical transformations. In romantic literature, night represents the thin boundary between the real and the supernatural, creating a stage for interactions between good and evil, God and the devil. Gogol gives this time a sacred meaning, colored with distinctly Ukrainian national hue. In Ukrainian folklore, Christmas Eve is seen as a time of cleansing from evil, which is mass retreat before the Holy Christmas celebration.
Another important symbol in the story is the moon stolen from the sky by the devil. Traditionally, in Ukrainian culture, the moon represents strength and fertility. For example, popular Ukrainian dishes such as dumplings and halushki were crafted in a certain shape and nude to the magical influence of the moon on harvest. In Gogol's tale, the theft of the moon disrupts harmony, endangering life itself. Its eventual return symbolizes the restoration of national order and the victory of light over darkness.
Colors in the story also hold symbolic weight. Red, seen in the character's clothing, represents love, youth, and life energy. For instance, Oksana's shirt, embroidered in red silk, hint at her beauty and youthful pride, symbolizing the love she stirs in Vakula's heart. The green that Vakula paints on the church walls represents nature, family happiness, renewal, and growth. Vakula's role as a blacksmith holds symbolic meaning as well. In folk mythology, blacksmiths were connected to the element of fire and considered bearers of magical power, capable of battling dark forces. Beyond his craft, Vakula is also an artist who decorates the church, asserting the triumph of good through his art.
Folk elements are fundamental to the artistic structure of the night before Christmas, giving it a deep emotional color and a vibrant link to Ukrainian traditions. One such element is the evening gathering structure, which Gogol employs in the story. Вечорниці were an ancient Ukrainian custom where young men and women would gather at night to sing, dance, and discuss various events. This communal activity combined songs, dances, theatrics, jokes, and stories built on a myth and ceremonial symbolism. This structure is evident in the story within evenings on the farm near Dikanka, especially in the night before Christmas.
The use of ceremonial songs such as carols and Shadrivka's New Year songs infuse the story with a lyrical, festive mood. Carols celebrate the renewal of nature, the birth of Christ, and the victory of light over darkness. In Gogol's tale, carols come to Oksana's home, creating a festive atmosphere, while the songs and festive tunes heighten the sense of unity among the people. Additionally, Shadrivka's part of the winter ritual cycle are sung to honor the host, the abundance, and well-being.
In Ukrainian folk tradition, there exists a form of seed known as a vertep. Originating in the 17th century, the vertep was a wooden box theater used to perform puppet shows. Later, the term came to denote live theatrical performances. Even today, in Ukraine, you can see verteps before Christmas, with performers singing and extending holidays greetings.
Traditional vertep characters such as Soloha, the deacon, and the godfather, and the Cossack are depicted in the story. Each embodies distinct traits that enrich the folkloric undertone of the work. The cunning Soloha, the brave Cossack, are the proud Oksana, and the tipsy godfather. Comic elements also add lightness and humor to the tale, transforming it into a theatrical narrative structured like Ukrainian evenings gatherings.
And in conclusion, the story has a cheerful ending, reminiscent of a folk fairy tale. Vakula defeats the devil and returns with the chariot slippers for lovely Oksana. The village community gathered to celebrate Christmas, unite in the church to praise Christ. This conclusion reinforces the ideals of Christian virtue, love, and unity, resonating with the folk beliefs in the interconnectedness of people, nature, and spiritual world. So, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Yelyzaveta, Anna, Renata, and Alona. Yeah. So please feel free to ask questions or make comments. Maria, please.
Sorry, which one?
Tatsynets, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Girls, thank you very much for this lovely presentation. It was really interactive and really interesting in the pictures. And I personally, I love this piece of literature myself so much. And my question is, what do you think, maybe based on this piece of literature, maybe on some others, maybe in general, what is the most prominent, unique feature of the literature written by Mykola Gogol? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria, for your question. In my opinion, like unique style of Gogol contains of realism and fantasy, how Gogol masterfully combines the fantasy and the realism of life, because his mother from his childhood told him about the Ukrainian customs, and he lived in a village. He saw this realism, and later I think it reflects in his stories. Also, his novels are rich of Ukrainian folklore. As you can see, many of Gogol's early works, such as Evenings on the Farm, are deeply rooted into Ukrainian tradition and incorporating folklore, mythology, and I think it's a part of his unique style writing. And maybe it's symbolism, allegory, and some kind of humor, because almost in all of his novels you can see some irony and you can learn some lessons. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. So Kudla, Maria, please.
Thank you so much. Girls, thank you for your strong and informative presentation. I really liked it. And I wanted to ask you one question. So, in your opinion, which character from Evenings on a Farm near Dikanka do you think best shows Ukrainian culture?
Thank you so much, Marie, for this wonderful question. In my opinion, Vakula and maybe the devil and his mother Soloha shows the Ukrainian nation as well, because Vakula is an optimist. He didn't give up when Oksana said him she didn't love him and will only marry him if he will bring her slippers, like Teresa Warren. And Vakula finds a way to beat this striking deal, like Ukrainian people. They always find the way, they stay optimistic, and in my opinion, maybe Vakula is the best who represents Ukrainian nation.
Thank you. Hannah, please.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for your interesting presentation. And in Japan, Christmas is just as a event. So the Gogol's book and the folktale on which it is based and the refers Christmas is very fresh and interesting for me. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Alexei, please.
Presentation, especially around Christmas and New Year's times. Very happy to hear about this again. My question is, in your opinion, what are some of the key themes present in the evenings near the village of Dikanka? Key themes, please.
Oh, thank you for your question. Can you repeat it because internet connection is bad?
Of course. In your opinion, what are some of present in the text?
Okay, maybe it's a theme of the unity of the nation, of the family, of fairy tale, some satyr. I don't know. It's a very hard question. I need to think on it.
Okay, I can add. So the other key theme will be good versus evil. So in this, in Evenings Near Dikanka, we can clearly see portrayal of evil and the portrayal of good. So I think it's one of the most important, necessary, essential key in this piece of literature.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I personally, was impressed that you read Gogol in Ukrainian now. Yeah, right. Okay. So, well, I think you did a wonderful presentation and vivid discussion. I appreciate it very much. So let me ask Olya Nikolaevna, say some comments.
Thank you. I would like to say many thanks to all participants for very wonderful presentations. We received excellent presentation about English, American and Ukrainian literature. The students showed us that classics never die. They are eternally alive and give us inner strength and energy for our lives. I thank the Japanese and Ukrainian students for their excellent presentations, and you have done a good job. You have shown that you can not only read, but also have your opinions, your interpretations of complex issues. I thank you once again, and I remind you that all students should submit their papers in the form of articles for our annual collection of articles. Special thanks to Professor Nanaka for organizing this seminar, and special thanks to Professor Lydia for cooperation. Thank you so much, all participants.
Thank you, Olya. So, Lydia-san, please say some words.
Шановні колеги, дякуємо вам за те, що уважно вислухали доповіді студентів, за те, що відбулася гарна жвава дискусія. І шановним студентам дякую за глибокі змістовні доповіді і за гарний обмін думками.
Yes, so first of all, say thank you for dear colleagues to attend and listen to us, and that our vivid and fruitful discussion was happened, and also many thanks to students for such plentiful and deepened discussions today. So thank you so much.
Okay.
Дякую за співпрацю шановному професору Сусуму Нанака-сан, шановній Ользі Миколаївні і усім студентам, які так активно і зацікавлено сьогодні говорили про класиків світової літератури.
And also thank you, dear Solonynka-san and dear Olga Nikolenko for the cooperation and for all of the students who were so interested in this discussion and took part in this seminar. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you all. 90, you noticed 90 minutes have flied very fast, yeah? Okay, so the next meeting will be next Tuesday, 14th January, okay? So let's see again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Goodbye.
much.
Have a nice day.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.